Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the VI SBDC Lunch and Learn with SBA. Today, we are going to feature the topic Funding Innovation Research, the SBIR, STTR program. And my name is Mary Jo Williams. I will be your moderator for today. For those of you that are new, the SBDC is a joint venture arrangement with the U.S. Small Business Administration and the University of the Virgin Islands. And as such, what we do is we provide technical assistance for people that are thinking about starting a business, for people that are in business and want to grow their business, or for people that are in business and want to go out of business. So anywhere along that continuum, the VI SBDC is here to work with you. And the good thing about the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is we want to be here for the life of your business, not just to help you start, not just to help you get a loan, but until you decide you don't want to be in business anymore, or you no longer qualify as a small business. So with that being said, I will turn the presentation over to Ms. Lisa Chamely-Aqui, and she will be our main presenter for today. Ms. Chamely-Aqui.
Thank you so much, Mary Jo, and good morning. And I am joined by my colleague, Wayne Huddleston, who's the Senior Area Manager for SBA in the US VI. Wayne is online, and I just want to thank in advance VI SBDC for hosting these Lunch and Learn sessions so that we can expose you to different programs of the SBA. Today, our program is all about SBIR and STTR, two different programs, but both aiming to do the same thing, which is funding innovative research. Now, SBIR, as you see there, stands for Small Business Innovation Research, and STTR stands for Small Business Technology Transfer. And one of the things to note is that these programs provide US small businesses more than $3.7 billion in early stage research and development per year. And that's to develop breakthrough technologies for tomorrow. So let's just go on a little bit. As we said, one of the areas of capital access that SBA provides is research and development awarded funds. So if you are a technology-focused small business wanting to fund your research and development or prototyping operations, you may qualify for federal grants from 12 different federal agencies that participate in the SBIR STTR program. And we're going to cover those agencies in just a few slides. Just a few housekeeping notes. If you do have a question, then please put it in the chat and we will get to it after. So key areas for funding include artificial intelligence, nanomaterials, clean energy, water filtration, education technology, and wearable technology, to name a few. We'll go on a bit. All right, so who should consider the SBIR program? Well, enthusiastic inventors often feel that their idea is definitely innovative, and they may have spoken with family and friends who agree with them. But it is important to understand what the federal agencies consider innovative research to be. And here we have three different definitions of innovative research from the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, from the National Science Foundation, NSF, and from the National Institute of Food and Agriculture under the US Department, under the Department of Agriculture. So when you are developing research, it's important to see what is important to them, because they are ultimately the agencies that are going to be granting SBIR funds. And the other thing that is important to keep in mind is that innovative research is relative to the state of the art. And this again is defined by the agency. So, however, when the agency doesn't define what it wants, the business owner must review the scientific and technical literature to assure that your innovation is novel relative to what others are currently doing. You'll see some success stories on this slide: Blue River Technology and Whole Trees. And as I was browsing the website, I found a really interesting one that I thought was unique to us in the Virgin Islands. It was from World Winds Inc. And World Winds Inc. is an LA-based company. And I'll tell you a little bit about it. So when Hurricane Irma and Maria slammed into, well, Irma specifically slammed into USVI and Puerto Rico in 2017, there was a news story that made the national headlines. And a commercial aircraft had managed to fly off the island despite Category 5 winds, carrying 175 passengers to safety. So the flight utilized a technology that was developed by World Winds and with help of the federal SBIR program. And when you read a little bit more about this company, World Winds Inc., you see that they have a history of partnering with FEMA, and they've become synonymous with providing the very best in remotely sensed weather data. So, that is one of the examples of the kind of technology that is considered innovative, that companies are looking to, that the agencies are looking to fund. Now, who should not consider the program? So, we have it's access to capital, yes, but small businesses who need money for marketing, small business who need money for manufacturing or cash flow or purchasing equipment, this is not SBIR, STTR is not the program for you. If you're commercializing a technology that has already been developed as well, that's too far gone in the process. We're really looking at early stage research and development. And if you don't conduct innovative research, then we're not looking at SBIR, STTR. So it's a very small segment of our population, but it's still a very important program to note. And there are other access to capital funds, depending on, if you need money for purchasing equipment, we have the 504 loans, we have 7A loans, we have the different disaster loans. So it depends on what you're looking for. We have, guaranteed bonds and private investors, but this one is specific to innovative research. So, is your firm eligible to participate in the SBIR, STTR? Well, your company must be US owned and operated. Your company must be a small business, which, under 500 people. And then depending on what your NAICS codes, your NAICS codes, say your net income must be, those are some of the things that you have to figure out. And the work must be done within the US. So you will see there that there are some websites, SBIR.gov, frequently asked questions on eligibility requirements. And there is also an eligibility size compliance guide as a PDF if you look on the website. And you must be aware that with SBIR, the small business is always the applicant and the awardee. And that becomes important when you get to STTR and you see the difference. So, is SBIR, STTR a loan program like some of the others that I just mentioned? And no, it isn't. It's a financial award and there's no strings attached. And, it's easy to understand why it might be considered a loan program, because when you hear SBA talk about loans, when you hear SBA, you think of loans. So this is, you do not have to give up with SBIR, STTR, you don't have to give up any equity. And that's what non-diluted capital means. You also don't give up any rights to your intellectual property. And depending on if your innovation is really successful, you may be eligible for what is called a phase 3 contract without further competition because of special rights. And these are referred to as SBIR data rights. So we talked about the 12 agencies that all have SBIR, STTR funding, and they're listed here in terms of the amount of funding that they have available, what their budget is for funding, from the most to the least. So we have Department of Defense having the biggest budget, down to the Environmental Protection Agency having quite a wholesome, but still the smallest budget in relative to the 12 agencies. Now, the 5 biggest agencies, Department of Defense, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Energy, the National Science Foundation, and NASA also have STTR programs. So those are the ones that, depending on your need and depending on who you're partnering with, you may want to take a look at what they are offering specifically. So there are different funding phases. There is a phase 1 and a phase 2, and this is where you get awards, grant awards. So in general, phase 1, you can get an award up to $150,000, and this is for 6 to 12 months in concept development. Phase 2, then, you can get an award up to $1 million for prototype development, which would be done over a period lasting up to 2 years. So agencies do have the option of increasing phase 1 and phase 2 awards by up to 50%. So you might get a phase 1 award, might be up to $225,000, or a phase 2 award may go up to $1.5 million, especially with one of the larger agencies. And many agencies also provide a second phase 2 for prototype development. So, that's another option for funding. Now, SBIR funds come from taxpayer money. So the expectation is that the innovation should benefit the public in some way. Phase 3 is referred to as the commercialization stage, and that's funded with not from SBIR, but from other sources of funding, either from the government or from the private sector. SBIR, it's important to understand that it's a competitive process, and an applicant must do, remember, the applicant has to be this small business, must do the best they can to follow agency guidelines explicitly. The average award rate for phase 1 SBIR is 15% across all agencies, so it's quite competitive. The STTR program started 10 years after the SBIR program. So the SBIR program was started by SBA in 1982, and then the STIR was added in 1992 as a smaller program. And as we mentioned, the 5 largest departments also carry STTR programs, and they're listed there. And they have over $1 billion of extramural R&D. These agencies, and that's why, so if you want to learn a little bit more about the differences between STTR and SBIR, you'll see the website there. There's tutorials on the program basics. So what are the differences between SBIR and STTR? So with SBIR, the main difference is that you do not have to have a subcontractor. You can apply for it if you're doing all of the work from, A to Z, but you can choose to have a subcontractor. And the subcontractor could be a large business, a small business, a consultant, or a university. And the key thing is that it's not required with SBIR. However, with STTR funds, it is required that a research institution be involved in your application, and that 30% of the research is done by an institution. So whether it's a university or a federally funded development center, and that's the key difference between the SBIR and STTR. The SBIR definitely has more funding than STTR, which is spread over 12 instead of 5 federal agencies. But really depends on what you are developing. It may be helpful for small businesses to have strong ties with a university, in which case then you'll have an STTR. You can look at the STTR programs. So if you want to learn how to apply, the key takeaway here is that you only apply in response to a solicitation. You can't just apply open, I have a great idea and I want to apply. It's in response to a solicitation. And if we look at the picture on the left, it shows you the online tutorials that you can learn about each department. And sometimes if you Google SBIR, you will actually see results by government agency. And depending on what you are innovating and what research you're undertaking, maybe you know that your customer will be one agency or another, and you can go straight to that agency to research what their solicitations window looks like. And solicitations, if you look at the picture on the right, solicitations are released at different times by each agency, and there are different due dates. So you see kind of like the flow of when the windows open for new applications. And this is throughout the year, and what's the time frame for you to submit your application and so on. So most of the programs, how do I know when solicitations are released? It's hard to keep track, but if there's one or two agencies that you're particularly interested in, each of the agencies, you can bookmark their websites and ask to be on their mailing list, so that when they do submit a solicitation, you're going to be in the audience that gets that solicitation. And here is a list of all 12 of the federal agencies and their websites that you can peruse at your leisure, and then ask to be on the mailing list for any that are important in your area of research. So what else is needed to be considered for SBIR or STTR grant funding? Well, like it's, federal contracting, you need a DUNS number. There's a couple of registrations that need to be in place. The first is a DUNS number, and that's a unique 9-digit identifier for businesses. You need to be registered on SAM, which is the Systems for Award Management. You need to there's a new element where you have to be on the SBA registry, and that's a new element of the SBIR STTR data system and application process. So once you're registered, your company will be given a specific SBIR or STTR ID number that you will use when applying to any agency solicitation. And it's important, if you are thinking of the SBIR and STTR grant funding as a process that your company wants to pursue, then these are the things that you should do in advance or in a timely manner, or your company might miss the opportunity to make a presentation. All right, well, that was a general overview of the SBIR and STTR processes and just the programs. And what we wanted to share is that we have a few more programs coming up with, in partnership with VI SBDC's Lunch and Learn. Next week, Monday, we have an Everything Idle session from 11 to 12, and that's where we go through for people who still, have applied or have not yet applied for the idle loan and may still need it. We go through the application process, we go through reasons for denial and what you can do for reconsideration. And then the following Monday, the 7th of December, we're going to have other funding options and access to capital. And that's where you'll hear more about, loans, private investors, a guarantee program, and so on and so forth, SBIR, STTR being one of them. The registration links, you can find them on VI SBDC events on Facebook, or that's the link there. And if you have other questions, either about this program or about any of SBIR's programs, then these are our numbers. Wayne Huddleston, again, he is online as well. He's the Senior Area Manager for the US VI. And my name, again, is Lisa Chamely-Aqui. Our telephone numbers and email addresses are listed there, as well as our partners in VI SBDC. All of their information is listed there, and you don't have to wait until one of these calls or the Lunch and Learn sessions. If you have a question that you'd like to ask us, or if you have something that you need us to clarify, please go ahead and email all of us. We're always willing to help. And we know this is a tough time for small businesses, so please take the time to reach out to us. And then, if this information has been interesting, or if there's other programs you really want to hear more about, we ask you to take a minute and let us know how we're doing through sba.gov/feedback. It's just a short survey, but it gives us pointed information about how we are doing and how we're serving our small businesses in the territory. So we ask you to take some time with that. All right. And at this point, we will open it up for questions. And I will turn it over to Wayne Huddleston in case he wants to add anything, in case I have forgotten anything. And yes. So
I've got nothing to add, Lisa. I think you did a good job. Thank you.
All right. And Mary Jo, I'm going to turn it back over to you as we wait for any questions.
I have a question. Can startup businesses apply for the SBIR, STTR programs?
As long as they are a registered small business, then they can. But if they're in the process of starting up, no, they have to be registered.
Okay. That's a good question. All right. And so for those that are on Facebook, could you repeat who the 12 agencies are that are participating in the SBIR STTR program, please?
Yes, and what I'll do is I'll take you back to that slide so that we can show that up, because there's a lot of information in that slide. Hold on. Oh, there it was. Oh, okay. My computer is, there we go. All right. So these are the 12 agencies. Department of Human and Health Services, Department of Defense, Department of Education, Department of Transportation, the EPA, what we said, okay, NASA, the National Science Foundation, National Oceanographic, that one's tough, NOAA. That's the one we always use for hurricanes, US Department of Agriculture. Wayne, help me with NIST and ED.
Which one? NIST?
NIST.
I'm not sure what that one is. National Institute of
Science and Technology. Is there a?
It might be. And what was the other one?
ED? I don't think it's education. No, IES.ED.
I think it's the energy. No, it's not Department of Energy. I'm not sure.
All right, we'll have to pick that up and give that information to VI SBDC, but I'm sure once we click on it.
It might be education. I think DOE is Department of Energy and ED's Education Department.
All right.
Okay. And NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology.
Standards and Technology. Okay, wonderful.
We got lots of government agencies out there. It's the alphabet soup.
And just remember, their annual budget in this area is over $3.7 billion in early stage research and development grant money. So that is a tremendous opportunity for people and small businesses involved in innovation.
Cool. That's pretty exciting. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Okay, great. So
go ahead, Mary Jo.
No, that's okay.
All right. Well, it is. There are no more questions. I'm going to stop this share, and if you want, I actually do have. Let's see if your slide at the back end of it. Oh, no.
Nope. You can take it then.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, we'll let people actually get to the business of eating during the lunch and learn. On behalf of the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center and our state director, Mr. Ted Gutierrez, I want to thank everybody for attending today's session. Now, for those of you that are new to SBDC, we have offices on St. Croix at the Estate Peters Rest next to the Sprint/T-Mobile office. And in St. Thomas, we're located on the second floor of Niski Center, upstairs above the Navy and Marine recruiting offices. We are seeing people remotely, so don't come running over to our office to see us. Call us up or email us or send us, call us or email us, send us a message from our Facebook page. We'd be more than happy to assist you. And as a matter of fact, let me put up my slide with that information so that you guys can see it. I want to thank you for attending the Lunch and Learn. Our phone numbers for St. Thomas, 693-1694, and St. Croix is 692-4294. Are you seeing the one slide or the two slides?
I'm seeing the one slide.
Oh boy, I did it right. Okay, excellent, excellent. And you can also email us at info@visbdc.org. Check out our website at visbdc.org, or check us out on Facebook, which is VISBDC. So for those of you that have joined us today, we want to thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we talk about, what's the topic next week again, Ms. Lisa?
Everything about the economic injury disaster loan.
Everything idle.
Idle.
Very good. And that deadline is fast approaching. So
first, so we want to make sure that we know what the options are in terms of taking advantage of that for working capital for our small businesses.
okay, so anybody that's not yet applied should come on board. Anybody that's been denied and wants a reconsideration, they should check us out at that webinar, because there'll be a lot of information for those folks. And with that, we want to bid you all adieu and a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving, SP.